Peter Lauener. I'm Chief Executive of the Young People's Learning Agency, and I'd like to talk a little bit now about the way the pattern provision for 14 to 19-year-olds is likely to change over the next 5 years to 2015. I guess the first thing to say is that nobody knows for certain how that will change, but one thing that I think helps is if we look back at the changes over a generation, we see some of the key things that I still expect to see influencing what happens over the next 5 years. The first thing from these trends is that we've now got a much higher rate of participation for 16 to 18-year-olds than a generation ago. Actually, the rate of participation has gone from 70 to over 90%. That's a remarkable achievement over a generation, and it's now much more part of the fabric of expectation in society that young people stay in education or training up to the age of 18. I think that's good for young people. I think that's good for society. The second issue that's a long-term trend that's worth everyone thinking about is the extraordinary improvements and achievement that young people record by 15. The traditional measure of 5 A2C has, by 15 has actually doubled over the last 25 years. People lose sight of that. We see it going up year by year, but over a generation the success rate has doubled. That's an extraordinary achievement. It gives young people a better base to progress. So these are two highly significant points, but what will be influencing the pattern provision over the next 5 years? Well, the first thing to say is that there's still going to be a really important focus on those who are not in employment, education or training, the NEET group as it's called. Although participation is much higher, there are still a number of young people who do not find the right offer or need more support to make a success of that critical period 16 to 18. And I think all schools, colleges and other providers working with their local authority need to focus hard on the offer. Is the offer right for all young people in the area? Are there new things that could be put on that would help a particular group of young people? That's the first thing. The second important trend to think about is that increasingly the pattern provision is going to be dictated, shaped by independent autonomous providers. They do need to work together, but the decisions they make have got to be the decisions right for their learners. And we're going to reinforce that and incentivise that through the funding system, because funding will clearly follow the choices that learners make. So, for example, if a school or college provides learning opportunities for 500 or 1,000 young people this year, that will be a guarantee for the number of young people that they can support in the following year. That will be a guarantee that will run throughout the period to 2015, and that gives security to schools and colleges that they don't need to come asking for that number of places. That will be guaranteed in the new arrangements. There will still be big challenges to ensure that the funds are as efficient as possible, and schools and colleges will not be exempt from the funding pressures that everyone in the public sector will feel over the next few years. But in terms of the number of places, that will be clearly managed in the way that I've talked about. I think the final thing I'd draw out for people to think about over the next few years is the importance of progression for young people. All young people want to end up in a job. For some young people, that's after university. For some young people, it's 18. For other young people, it's at the age of 16. Young people need a pattern of progression that allows them to build their qualifications, their skills, so that they end up in the right job or career for them. And again, that's a challenge for all schools and colleges and other providers to think about how what they're offering that young person, the support that they're giving that young person, is going to get them that next stage on the route for the progression route for that young person. Thank you.